Welcome to the first Coffee and Conversation of 2024. I am joined today by Chandler Milam, Chief Development Officer at YWCA. Chandler, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me this morning, Tia.
So I'd like to start by kind of doing a little bit of year in review. What's a rose, a thorn, and a bud of 2023? So what's something that went really well for the org this year, something you're still coming to grips with, and then something you're looking forward to?
Ooh, okay, good way to start. Well, let me start with the rose, because I think one thing in 2023 that I really liked that YWCA Minneapolis did is we took a really hard look at sort of where we were as an organization. We did a lot of strategic planning, working with McKinsey and other organizations to sort of review just how we operate as a nonprofit. We really wanted to find where our niche is within the community as a whole. A lot of the work that is done here within the community is done by a lot of really great nonprofits kind of across the board. And what we wanted to do was to be able to be a partner in that work and not directly competing or taking away from what anybody else is doing. And so we were really trying to find out where within our kind of fields of early childhood education, girls and youth, racial justice and public policy, and health and fitness, of how we fit into sort of the community dynamic. And I feel like we came out with a really strong vision of who we want to be and what direction we're going to move forward as an organization. And I think that kind of directly goes into the thorn as well, because as part of that, what was really hard is we made some really tough and difficult choices, some of which are really hard to make because they're part of the organization's legacy. The sale of 2 buildings, closing fitness facilities in Uptown and Downtown and consolidating them to our Midtown location. All of that was really hard to do, and we were doing it under such an expedited time frame because of budget constraints and other external factors that we didn't have the time to get the community feedback and community involvement that I think we would have liked to. And I think that that was something we learned as an organization, that we wish we had really started the strategic planning process much earlier, because COVID changed things and it really changed how we kind of function as an organization. And we were really slow in adapting to that initial change because we were trying to kind of hold on to the way things had been and kind of continue supporting our community in that same way, hopeful that, gym and fitness would come back in the same way, hopeful that transportation and people would start coming back downtown, and that stuff just didn't happen. And I think we waited a while to kind of make sure that that was going to be the case before we started that strategic planning process, which unfortunately meant we kind of had to expedite those decisions and didn't have the time to involve the community we would have liked. But a bud for 2024, which I'm really excited about, is we're undergoing a brand new campaign here at YWCA Minneapolis, which I know sounds a little strange because we're also undergoing the sale of 2 buildings, but we're not actually going to be making money off the sale of the 2 buildings. That'll go directly towards the programs and things like that, because the money from the 2 buildings is really going to be going to covering the deficits and other things that the YWCA spent in order to keep our gyms open during COVID. We felt it was really important to keep our gym and fitness operations open during COVID, our ECE classrooms open during COVID, but all of that also came with a lot of additional expenses and a lot of lost revenue because people just weren't coming in the same numbers. And so we ended up dipping a lot into our investments in order to make sure we could keep those operations going for the time being, kind of hoping that we'd get to the other side of the pandemic and then we could see what our community needed. And now that we have found sort of where our niche is going to be and we've started that transition, the sale of the buildings will go back into building up those investments so that we can ensure the stability of our programs, which is really important. Because I know endowments kind of get a bad rap sometimes, but it's really important when you're talking about staffing and things like that to know that you have sustainable income coming in every year from your endowments, because it allows you to employ people long term. And that's really important with things like teachers and community workers that are out working with children, because the relationships they build are so important. You don't want to constantly have a lot of rotation, because then you're not having that same depth of relationship, which is really important. So all that in my very verbose way to say that we're undergoing this campaign, which I think is going to be a really great step forward for YWCA Minneapolis. It's called Paving the Way, and it's all about kind of setting the stage for this next chapter of our organization's history. It's about really laying the groundwork for us to do even more in the community in the areas where we feel we make the biggest impact. So the four pillars of our campaign are going to be our early childhood education, our girls and youth programming, our racial justice and public policy work, and then our Midtown Community Hub. So really focusing on our Midtown location as a space where the entire community can come together for, excuse me, I'm still recovering from the flu, so I apologize for the cough. But the entire community can come together to just get access to the resources and services they may need, even if it's something that maybe we're not a leader in, we might be able to help facilitate or provide connection to other nonprofits. We can provide fitness space, activities space, and just kind of be a holistic service for that community that really embodies the community and its values. And so we're really excited that this campaign is going to allow us in so many ways to expand our services, because we know that, especially with youth, all the studies are showing that there are some disastrous effects from COVID. Rates of depression and suicide are up among teens. Children are grade levels behind where they should be because of the pandemic. And they're suffering a lot of social factors as well because of the inability to socialize at such a critical age. And so what this funding will do is it will directly allow us to start expanding and improving our programs. So all the money going into the campaign will go directly into that expansion and improvement of our programs and making sure that we're having as big of an impact as we can, because we know our community really needs it. There's a lot of need there that's still not being met.
Thank you for all that information. Much appreciated. I just want to uplift something that you said about
Yeah.
naming that expedited time frame for the building sales, and
Yeah.
that retrospective, wishing there could have been more input and more time to solicit the community and sort of bring them into that decision making. I think a lot of people will appreciate hearing that. And then also the clarification that the sale of the buildings is to sort of help the org recover from COVID and to build up those endowments to in order to fund staffing and things of that nature to sort of secure the future, in a sense. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's really the essence of an endowment, is it's securing the future and providing sustainable resources so that you know you can rely on it year after year.
So you've said that paving the way is kind of going to help grow these programs and expand, because as you said, there is absolutely a need for all of these areas, ECE, programs for youth, especially girls and marginalized genders, racial justice, of course. Can you expand on some ways that you're hoping that these programs will grow in the future?
Oh, absolutely. So a couple of the ones that I think are really immediate ways that our programs will be improved with this funding is, for example, we've got several schools that have reached out to us about things like our Contact Plus program, which is our sexual health and identity education programming that we provide to the schools. And the way that that works is we partner with the schools. They'll ask us to come in, and then our staff will go in, they'll work with teachers and things, they'll provide this education to students. And it's really just about helping them to understand themselves, helping them to get good sexual health information, and just helping them to kind of grow into really responsible adults that are conscious of the choices they're making. And we have so many other schools that have reached out to us that we're not currently at because we don't have the staffing to do it. If we had just one more full-time staff person working in that specific program, we could work on 8 more schools. But we just currently don't have the staffing. So we're having to turn down a lot of those requests, which means that those children at such an important age aren't getting access to that resource. And that's really hard because, they're not there forever. So if it takes us a couple of years or a few years to get the staffing, some kids may just not get it at all, or they might not get it when they need it, or they might not have it in time for some crucial life decision or something that comes their way, and we want them to be prepared for that. So I think that's one great example. The other one is our early childhood education that I would really point to, because not all of our early childhood education classrooms are open. Excuse me. So right now, there's a big need for early childhood education in the Twin Cities. During the pandemic, a lot of places closed, and a lot of families aren't able to find childcare. And even those that are able to find childcare often aren't able to find affordable childcare. As many parents know, that very expensive. And so one of the things that we really want to do is to be able to invest in our early childhood education staff and also recruit more teachers so that we can open up those classrooms. That way we can serve a much larger number of students, and also so that we can help to, through our workforce development program, encourage new teachers into the field. One of the issues right now with early childhood education is there's just not enough teachers for the number of students that are needed. And it's really because that field is so tough. It's tough when your body, you're doing a lot of bending and moving when you're carrying children. And while it may not immediately sound like that could lead to severe health issues, it does. Most people that work as early childhood education providers for an extended period of time suffer back issues, knee issues, and other things related to the movements they perform in the job. And also the pay tends not to be great. It tends to be much lower than, say, a teacher in an equivalent position at a public school or something similar. And so what we really want to do is be able to invest in and support our staff so that we can open up more of our ECE classrooms, create better relationships, and this funding will go directly towards allowing us to do that.
It sounds like there's a lot of things at play here.
Mhm.
It sounds like there's definitely, earlier you talked about
Mhm.
partnership and wanting
Mhm.
to be a partner, not a competitor. And it sounds like there are the schools, for example, want to partner with YWCA. And we're just looking to meet that need and be that partner in return. Um, and the same with ECE and meeting the sort of classroom gap that's there between the number of spots that's needed and the number of teachers and number of classrooms. There's just
Mhm.
a lot going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we've talked about ECE and we've talked about Contact Plus. I know that Girls and Youth umbrella is a big one and covers a lot of programming. Can
Uh-huh.
you speak to any of those other areas?
Yeah, so our girls and youth programming, as you said, has a lot under it. So we do a lot of different stuff. We do a lot with Girls Inc., which is a national organization. Through them, we do both Girls Inc. out of school time and also Girls Inc. Eureka. Girls Inc. out of school time provides a lot of STEM related assistance and education opportunities to students, specifically those that identify as female. And so we do that program, which I love. We do a lot of really cool stuff with it. We do mentorship opportunities. We do a lot of different science days and things like that. And then Girls Eureka, which is a 5-year cohort, is one of my favorite programs that we have because these girls start in the 8th grade, they go all the way through high school. It becomes a really tight-knit cohort and they get to do a lot of really cool stuff together. They do couple weeks every summer at the University of Minnesota, where they'll spend time on campus doing classes and things like that that are special for them. This past year, we did this really great project where they built boats out of milk cartons, and they built, actual boats out of milk cartons to then put in Lake Nokomis and to try and test buoyancy and learn about all that kind of stuff. So those two programs are really great. We've got Strong, Fast, Fit, which we're really excited about. We hired a new coordinator recently for that program. It's one that's really focused around health and wellness from a cultural perspective. So it's really about creating cultural cohorts and then helping those cohorts to learn how to cook foods from that specific culture in a healthier way. So it's not about giving people the same sort of Eurocentric recipes and telling them that they have to eat these if they want to be healthy. It's about what substitutions you can make in that local culture's cuisine in order to sort of have healthier results and also to encourage physical exercise and teach people just about how your body is related to your mental health, to your ability to sort of feel energized and to just live a better life. So we've got those programs, which I really love. And the other one, so I don't take up too much time, that I really want to highlight is our Beacons program. So our Beacons program, I think, is really cool. It's a partnership that we do. Beacons is another national network, much like Girls Inc. And we partner here in the local Twin Cities with several other organizations that also do Beacons as well. And we now have 3 Beacon sites. We have Hmong International Academy, We have Franklin Middle School, and then we also now, just this year, added South High School, which is right next to our Midtown location. And that program is all about helping students as they're going through their educational process to grow. So the way that it works is we find a school that wants to partner with us. We go into that school, we set up basically like after school learning opportunities, and then students and any organizations within the school can kind of run their program through Beacons for their after school program and receive access to all kinds of resources, benefits, scholarship opportunities, additional educational opportunities, things like that, that really allow them to grow as youth, to grow as leaders, to grow as students, and to just sort of embrace themselves as they kind of continue that educational journey. So we got a lot of really great programming going on in that space.
I know that just as there is the demand for ECE and high quality comprehensive sexual health, there's definitely a demand for out of school and after school activities
Mhm.
for youth of all ages. Is it fair to say these are also areas that YWCA is looking to expand in the future with the
Oh,
help of this
absolutely.
campaign?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. Yeah, we are 100% all about trying to expand those kinds of opportunities because, like you said, they're a really big need. And we've been for years one of the largest out of school time providers of programming here in the Twin Cities. And it's definitely something that we want to expand. We often get asked why we're not at certain schools or other schools. And so it's having the ability to have the staff and the resources to then actually provide that programming in more places is really important.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of the programs you mentioned
Mhm,
are housed out of the Midtown location.
mhm.
It's a busy building. Can you say more about the vision for Midtown moving forward as this community hub?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we really want it to be a community hub, which we're still working on all the ways in which we can do that. But what we've seen a need for in the community is having a place where people can come together, and that means a couple different things. So one of the first things that we really wanted to focus on with this space is there isn't a lot of youth space available for kids to go. A lot of places, as our Vice President of Girls and Youth, Katie Rahani, will tell you, that youth go, they get kicked out of because they're viewed as truants, they're viewed very negatively and sort of depicted as they're going to burglarize or cause issues in a space, something like that. And they're not, they're just kids. And so what they really need is a space that they can go to and that they can feel safe in, energize, interact, have activities, things like that to do. So that's one thing that our Midtown location we hope to be is a place where youth can kind of come, have that space that they need. The other thing that we really want in terms of that space is a place that the community can come, where parents can get resources or access to information about resources. So like I said, we don't do everything and we can't do everything. There's a limit on the amount of staffing and resources that we have available. And there are a lot of other really great organizations here in the Twin Cities that are doing some of that work. And so what we want to do is be able to understand and have the information on those organizations and potentially direct community members to some of those services so that if we have an EC family that's coming in struggling financially, for example, we might be able to provide them with even more resources on here's a nonprofit that provides some sort of housing subsidy or something to help you with your rent or things like that, or your energy in the winter when prices skyrocket. Or maybe it's connecting them with a local food bank or somewhere that they can get access to maybe fresh vegetables and fruits and other things that they might not have access to otherwise. And so that to me, that sort of space for community is really what we want in that Midtown hub. So we'll still have our fitness operations, we'll still have our early childhood education and girls and youth activities, but we also want it to be a place where people can come for those resources and can come to just have a space where they belong.
It really goes back, I think, to that idea of partnership. And if we can't do it, if we can't help with
Mhm.
the need, like here's someone who can. Here's another community partner
Mhm.
direction. Um, I want to talk a little about the campaign itself. How is Pave the Way doing?
Yeah, it's doing really well. So our goal is to raise $4 million that will go into the programs, excuse me, that we've talked about. And right now we're at about $3.3 million that we've raised. So we're still looking to raise 700,000 more that'll go into these programs, help us to grow them. And what we're really trying to do is invite community members to be part of that process. So what we're asking for is for community members to learn more about sort of the vision for the YWCA and how we're going to be serving the community, and to really invest in what that vision is. You know, if they're aligned with our same sort of mission to eliminate racism and empower women, and they want to tackle those problems in the same ways that we're doing, and they really believe in this work that we do, we really want to ask them to invest and be part of it. You know, we can't do this alone. You know, the YWCA isn't a monolith that can do things by itself. We need the support of the community. And that means, from a fundraising perspective, we need our community, especially those with resources, to be able to invest in the work that we're doing and to be partners in that work. And we don't just want their money and then them never to talk to us. We want them to come to us with ideas, to come to us with support, to come to us with partnerships. So, you know, maybe we got, and this happens sometimes with our board members and volunteers, we'll have somebody that's part of another organization that they really love. And they'll ask us, what if you connected with this organization on this project? Or have you thought about this opportunity? Or this organization offers this service that might be really great to tell your ECE families about. And we do that. You know, that partnership is really important. And so we want people not only to invest financially, but to invest their time and to really be partners, because at the end of the day, it keeps coming back to that word, because that's how we change our community and create a better future for people across the community.
There are a lot of ways, it sounds like, to be a partner
Mhm,
with us, um, and it sounds like you're really thinking creatively about that
mhm.
as well. If someone wants to learn more about a program, what's a good way for them to do that?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we have information up on our website, and actually, tomorrow we'll be launching a new version of our website as we've switched internet providers. So if you're watching this after January 18th, it will already have been changed. Um, and what this new website is designed to do is to be a little easier to kind of navigate through. So as you know, the YWCA does a wide variety of things. And because of that, our website has been kind of clunky. We've gotten some feedback from people as they've tried to navigate it, that sometimes it's hard to find the exact page or the information they want. So we really worked with our programs, and our marketing team has been working really diligently to make sure that all that information is readily available on our website, and people can find not only the information for the programs, but also if they have questions or things like that, they've got both email channels that they can go through the website. They've got phone numbers they can call, anything like that. And if anybody ever has any questions or concerns or things, they're always free to reach out to us, because we love to hear back from the community and we really want to learn more. So I myself really like hearing from people. So always please feel free to email me. It's CMILAM at ywcampls.org. And I'm always happy to answer any questions people may have as well.
Thank you for that. Is there anything we haven't covered that you feel like you want to bring forward before we close out today?
Sure. I think the only thing that I wanted to bring up that we haven't covered, or I guess two things I wanted to bring up, because we've talked a lot about ways to get involved, and I know we've talked about paving the way, which is really, I think right now, one of the most important for our organization, as it's really about setting kind of the future for our organization and helping us to move in that direction of partnership. But also, we have a couple other things that we do. So we do a lot of work within the community through our events and through our volunteering. And so I just kind of wanted to quickly highlight both of those. For our events, we've got several It's Time to Acts coming up. It's Time to Act is our partner to our It's Time to Talk series. It's Time to Act is focused more on sort of specific actions that you can take within the community to address racial justice issues and help combat racial disparities, and really start to kind of progress that work, and also just help you learn how to have those conversations with the people around you. So we've got the first of those coming up on January 30th at Westminster Hall. So we're really excited about that. We've also got our Race Against Racism coming up on March 23rd. So if anybody's been involved with the YWCA for the past couple of years, you're probably a little familiar with the Race Against Racism. We started it as an alternative to our triathlon during COVID, when we couldn't have such large numbers of people gathered. And now our Race Against Racism is sort of morphing into more of a community event. So We're going to have some booths set up, some information on racial justice topics, some local vendors there, and then we'll have a 2K and 5K that people can do at the same time. So that'll be really exciting. And then the last thing that I wanted to really highlight is our Empower Possible event that we have coming up. So that's our annual fundraising gala. It's always a really wonderful night. Tickets for that are going to be going on sale here in about 2 weeks. So they'll be going on sale here at the end of January. If you're listening to this later, they are probably already available. And that fundraising gala is about just sharing the work that our wonderful, wonderful staff do on a day-to-day basis. You know, we really want to highlight the work that our frontline staff are doing in our programs. And also we highlight a woman of power, who is somebody that is doing exemplary work within the community and really making a difference, as well as our Kate Berman Leadership Award, which goes to somebody who really has demonstrated that they're a leader who is bringing people together within the community to focus on a specific problem or on a specific issue to try and create real change. And so we're really excited to have that opportunity, not only to highlight our own staff and the incredible work they do, but to highlight other people in the community who are making a difference. Because we understand that it is so interconnected and it's so many different things. And it's really important that we're all working together and that we're celebrating each other along the way, because it's not easy to combat these kind of issues day after day. You know, it's kind of depressing to look at the state of things and see how they are, but also really encouraging when you hear the stories of others in the community who have created change or who have seen progress, and having the opportunity to remember that even if it doesn't always feel like you're making an impact, that everything you do has sort of a ripple effect on the greater community. So that would be one thing. I know I said one and then listed 3 events. But the other thing that I want to mention too is our volunteering, which I think is really great as an opportunity for people to get involved as well. So our volunteering program, we're actually in the process right now of hiring a new community engagement manager who will sort of be responsible for overseeing all of that. But our volunteer program is really designed as a way for people to kind of dip their toes into the water, so to speak. It's a way for people to start to get involved with the organization, to learn more about what we do. There are some really great opportunities within our early childhood education and our girls and youth programming to get involved. Our racial justice programming also has some opportunities as well. And our public policy programming too, to be an advocate in the community, especially in an election year, so that you can help get people registered to vote, you can help drive people to the polls, you can help provide educational assistance, things like that, so that people understand their rights as a citizen. So all that kind of stuff we have opportunities for here at the YWCA, and you can find all that information on Volunteer Hub at the YWCA Minneapolis page, and it's also going to be on our website, so you can find it there as well. But I think those are really great ways to get involved also that I definitely want to make sure I mentioned.
Chandler, thank you for all that information.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of ways to get involved with everyone. If you can't come, bring a friend. If you're coming, bring a friend.
That's right. And if you can't come at all, tell your friend to come in your place, you know?
There you go. Well, thanks everyone who's watching at home. Our coffee and conversation will be back next month. Till then, take care.